Hello everyone, today I just want to give you a brief look at the IG-88 villain pack for the Imperial Assault game. We're going to go through the components and how they may or may not be useful to you, and hopefully by the end we can help your decision about whether this pack is worth adding to your collection. So first off, who is IG-88? Well, IG-88 is an assassin droid and one of the galaxy's most infamous bounty hunters. The line of IG-88 assassin droids was actually based on the IG-86 droid used during the Clone Wars. IG-88 has been linked to parts of the droid revolution and is known as an advocate for droid rights. So he doesn't necessarily like biologicals all that much. We see IG-88 in one core box campaign and side mission, and potentially one additional side mission included in this pack as part of his agenda set. There are 13 total cards in this pack, which will require 7 yellow and 6 green FFG sleeves. So let's start by taking a look at the villain pack components. So first we have the IG-88 figure to replace the token in the core box. I think it's a very nice figure. I think he looks pretty cool. He's tall, he's holding that blaster out. He's got that very classic Star Wars droid look to him. It takes a minute to figure out which ones are his eyes up there, but I think as far as painting goes, he's got a lot of detail. You see the electrical components and the cords running through his limbs almost look like veins. I think that they did a good job with this figure. And as far as painting goes, I think he offers a lot of variety and a bit of a challenge. So next we have the command cards, starting with 2 repairs, which spend an action to heal an adjacent droid or vehicle for 3 damage. 2 merciless, which is usable by a hunter, spends an action on an adjacent hostile figure to make them choose between discarding 2 command cards or awarding you 3 victory points. Dirty Trick, which allows a smuggler or hunter to inflict either 3 strain or the stun condition on any hostile figure that enters an adjacent space. Overdrive, which is used at the start of a round to allow a droid to suffer 2 damage during its activation to perform an additional action. And lastly, IG-88's card, Blaze of Glory, which allows him a chance to reactivate after an enemy's activation, with a cost of 3 damage at the end of the round. The skirmish missions, which take place at the Ord Mantell Junkyard, where the first objective has you jostling for control of the terminals for victory points, while a laser of death advances from the bottom of the map each round. The second objective has you select a bounty hunter at the start of the mission that doubles the value of any hostile group's victory points that he kills while trying to stay alive for bonus victory points. The agenda deck, Droid Uprising, which includes sabotage plans to frustrate your rebels by potentially robbing them of a powerful ally or upgrade by discarding a side mission of your choice. Or you might want to use Firepower Upgrade to spend 1 influence to upgrade your droids, giving them the ability to trigger the same surge ability up to twice per attack. And lastly, the aforementioned side mission, Binary Revolution, which is, as it sounds, the machines are rising up against the inferiority imposed by organics, and IG-88 is leading the charge. Successfully completing this mission, or having your rebels choose any mission but this one once presented, would allow you to bring IG-88 into any future mission that allows an open group. And the last component being the IG-88 deployment card. So for 12 threat to deploy for 10 health, it seems pretty expensive, and with only 1 black die, he's looking pretty exposed. However, you will notice he has an automatic built-in block, +2 accuracy to help keep his distance, and the ability to both heal for 3 and deal 2 damage by converting surges. Combine this with his arsenal ability, which allows you to cherry pick your die, and assault, which lets you attack multiple times per activation, and you could potentially be healing and dealing damage twice per turn. And enemies will find it tough to run from or chase IG-88 with his 5 speed. On top of all that, he gets the Relentless ability, which everyone hates on the Trandoshan Hunters, because it goes after your strain, suffering 1 if IG-88 is within 3 squares of his target when declaring an attack. So, all that being said, is he useful? Well, let's break it down by campaign. So let's start with the campaign. I think to make IG-88 effective, you definitely need to play him smart. And smart means, well, how do we put this? Not fun for your enemy. Running, gunning, using every trick you can, basically as unthematic as possible to make him useful in the campaign. You need to use his arsenal ability and the +2 accuracy to keep the enemies at bay. You got to throw in maybe a range blue with a medium green or possibly a yellow die, making sure to keep some figures between you and the enemy. And then when the time is right, his real strength will be closing in with that 5 speed with Relentless and upping that die selection to say 2 reds or red and the yellow. And that will be powerful, and it could be enough to finish off or wound a hero. But all that being said, early in the game, these abilities are going to be powerful and they're going to be useful. But later in the campaign, when the heroes are buffed up and they've bought their abilities, there's a good chance IG-88 will die in one activation. I'm looking at you, Finn. Combine this with an unappealing agenda set, and he does not make the best option for an open group campaign villain. Sabotage plans, it works well on its own, and firepower upgrade pairs well with tech superiority, but as a whole, the agenda set does not stack up well against other options, especially when that Imperial Industry card is looming in the background and you're looking at spending 3 influence on this mission. As far as skirmish goes, he's fast, and for objective-based maps, that's always great. And Relentless is nice to make them choose between taking damage or potentially discarding a command card. But his low health is even more exploitable in a skirmish map where all characters are starting on an equal level. His command cards might help keep him alive a little longer, paired with his surge ability to convert, but can eat up valuable points in your deck. However, potentially getting 4 attacks in a round with Blaze of Glory is enticing. But I think for now, as of February 2016, when this video is being made, or until Scum gets some more support outside of Gideon or C-3PO with a card with a 1 point to bring them in, he is a bit of a risk, and there are better ways to spend 10 points. So the final question is this villain pack worth buying? Well, the main draw of this pack would be using him in skirmishes and being able to bring him into your open groups, as the rest of his agenda deck is subpar. So based on that, I think that IG-88 falls in the category of good but not great. He's useful, but it's just not practical. That being said, there is a place and a time for this character, and if you are on the fence about buying this ally villain pack, just remember, a figure always looks better than a token. Thanks for watching, and I hope this is helpful. Again, this is just meant to be a brief intro into the character and a visual tour of the pack's components. But if you want to look up more great useful information on IG-88 or just Imperial Assault in general, I highly recommend you check out boardwars.eu and the Vader's Fine Arts podcast over at Team Covenant. Thanks again, and take care.